Hey, hit the second left red
Don't
button.
wanna let you down. With each breath we give away, it'll never be the same. I'm chasing somebody who won't ever ease the pain, but I don't want half of your heart, heart, heart. You can have it back if it's only half of your heart. If it's only half of your heart. I feel like I'm afraid of the only things I can't change.
Happy Monday evening, everybody. Welcome to Turn 1. I'm Sean Fitz. Thanks so much for being here. American Sim Racing Tour comes live to you tonight from Daytona under the lights. Playoff racing at its finest right here on a super speedway track on a fantastic Monday evening. I hope everybody's having a great time and ready to watch a fantastic race here at Daytona. We are playoff racing here tonight. But I tell you what, qualifying is just as important, and a lot of these drivers recognize that they need to be up front when it matters most. Will Weaver going to start on the pole tonight. Carl Lingle, Chris Akers, Sean Stevens, Daniel Holloway, your top five. Ethan Horst, Grayson Pate, Dalton Gibson, Chase Greer, and DJ Madish bringing you your full top 10. Let's take a look back a little further through the field. Tyler Hurt, Guy Braco, Russ Hancock, Eddie Morris, Rob Duvidak occupying 15th place. A strong opportunity tonight for the 99 to come through here. Brianna Laurent, Kirby Caputa, Matt Binky, Ambrose Nebel, Ed Smith rounding out this 20-car field here tonight at Daytona as we get ready to roll off and bring you the racing action you deserve on a Monday night right here on Turn 1. Ace truck moving off pit road here. and getting ready to go here at Daytona. Under the lights. They're going to take one time around here, this famed high bank 2+ mile racetrack here at Daytona Beach. Then we're going to go racing action here. Green flag. Now, if you're new to super speedway racing, well, that's okay. You're going to learn a lot here tonight. If you're not new, well, then you know the show that a super speedway race can put on. And these drivers, the American Sim Racing Tour, have proven time and time again they've got what it takes to put on a strong race with an exciting and competitive ending. We've seen green flag from start to finish with these guys, no cautions whatsoever. We've also seen a lot of incidences on track, but playoff racing, where it matters most, some of these decisions these drivers are going to have to make is critical here tonight to ensure they're there at the end. Couple cars to pay close attention to here tonight. That pole sitter, Will Weber, inside row 1, always a strong contender and up front when it matters most. But right behind him, that 29, the Chris Akers, the Candy Shack crew, they're the team to beat here tonight. Coupled with Daniel Holloway, as well as that driver of Russ Hancock. Those three drivers, they have put together some strong runs over the last couple weeks and always formidable on track. But tonight, the pace truck's going to head down pit road one more time, and we're going to get ready to go playoff racing here at Daytona. Down into the restart zone they go, and the green flag is going to be out. We're live and racing at Daytona. Two by two as they roll down the front stretch for the first time. It's going to take about 2 laps for these drivers to get up to speed. But right now, Will Weber's going to lead the bottom line with Chris Akers right behind him. Side by side as they roll through the corner there, the front 2 cars out front. That is Weber and Akers pulling away from this field a little bit, and that lead's only going to get a little bit better down this backstretch. But as they continue to roll all the way through here, the rest of the field's going to get finally wound up and caught up with them. To complete lap 1 here, we'll continue to watch that bottom line. Here at Daytona, the outside lane, not necessarily as competitive, but certainly can be leveraged, and you're seeing it right there. Chris Akers is going to pop out to the outside as we complete lap number 1, coming across the start-finish line. Akers is going to try to get that lead. He is. Chris Akers is going to lead lap 1 on that high line, and then he's going to move down here in just a moment. You're going to see that happen. He's going to take control of that bottom line. And just like that, we have a new leader here early between him and Carl Lingle, battling side by side here down the backstretch. All of a sudden, that outside lane starting to stall out. Here comes Lingle on the inside. He's got the 22 with him, I believe that's the 27 car in line. Now Weber, third in line on the bottom. Akers getting a big run again on the outside. Committed to that outside line. We'll see Akers continue to pull that move several times here tonight on the high line and working through and gaining those positions on that outside group. We were talking here tonight at the early onslaught. The Candy Shack crew of Daniel Holloway, Chris Akers, Russ Hancock, and others. Well, guess who's connected right there on the top? That is Akers and Holloway right there in line with them. Those two found each other early. That will be the opportunity for success there on the high line as we see cars start to scatter out. We got a couple cars down on the apron going to the back of the field. Akers is going to continue to lead through that outside line. Daniel Holloway now 5 cars all the way back. The bottom line coming apart completely. Now that outside line really starting to become a factor here. You're gonna mute. At speed now, these cars fully up to full RPM, full song as they come down the backstretch here on the lines at Daytona. Just 4 laps of 110 racing action right here on turn 1 for the American Sim Racing Tour playoff edition. This crew getting ready to take the summer off, but not before some exciting super speedway racing coming to you live right here. Now, with every week, we see about a 20-lap fuel run out of these drivers. That's going to equate to about 5 times down pit road. What's really going to come to fruition, or what's something we want to keep an eye on, is what do we do with those other 10 laps? Especially if we have longer green flag runs. What is going to happen? Who's going to be able to save enough fuel? Who's also going to stay out, play strategy? Who's going to come down, early stop, maybe try to get the fuel early, change the handling of the car? All of these things become a factor here tonight at Daytona with this American Sim Racing Tour group. Chris Akers continues to lead that high line. Daniel Holloway tight to the bumper with him. And a 3-car run out there. Really, this is the first time we've seen at Daytona this group really dominate the high line. But right now, the Candy Shack crew making it look easy up there. Right here as they come across the stripe to take lap number 6. While we've got the opportunity in the early going of this race, let's ride on board with Ethan Horst here tonight. That driver sitting third, right in line behind Daniel Holloway in that 15 machine. Let's see if we could get on board with him and go a couple laps around Daytona here. While that outside line continues to dominate, we've seen the inside lane really start to pick up here, leading a portion of that lap. Sorry we didn't catch it on camera, but Dalton Gibson, Carl Lingle getting together on that inside lane, starting to run pretty strong here at Daytona. Under the lights here for the American Sim Racing Tour, right here on turn 1, lap number 9. Running strong so far on the outside, about halfway through this fuel run. And there you have it. We saw the switch out of the Candy Shack group. That was Daniel Holloway. He moves down to the inside of the track, and Chris Akers is going to pick him up. They're going to switch spots. Now, for a couple reasons that happens, both from a leading perspective and a handling perspective. We've often seen Chris Akers be a strong pusher in this season here for the American Sim Racing Tour. But on top of that, fuel savings. Here halfway through that fuel run, Daniel Holloway now has been pushing for most of the race. Akers is now having the opportunity to sit behind that air bubble that Daniel Holloway is going to punch through the air and be able to save a little bit of fuel on their way to a lap 20 to 25 pit stop here. Your top 5 right now as they run. That's Daniel Holloway on the nose, Chris Akers, Ethan Horst, Russ Hancock, Kirby Caputo running in the top 5. Kirby up 12 spots here tonight in the 83. Looking for a strong finish to round out the season. Dalton Gibson on that inside line running 6th right now. Carl Lingle, Sean Stevens, Matt Binke, Will Weber, all running in the top 10. DJ Matish up there as well. I knew it was going to be an opportunity to make a fool of me here as they come back down the front stretch here at Daytona and talk about that top line, how it's really not been very dominant. And we haven't seen that outside line really do much here at Daytona throughout the season here for this group. But tonight, being led by the Candy Shack crew, the 29, and Daniel Holloway up there as well, that outside lane, showing dominance so far here tonight under the lights. As now Holloway, oh, he's going to get loose. Akers is going to pick it back up, but those two cars, that's what happens at the super speedway. You get just off the bumper. Now all of a sudden, that inside line's on the push. Here comes Dalton Gibson on the inside in the 7. Just a little bit of a checkup, and you see the power that has. Now Matt Bianchi, Carl Lingle, Sean Stevens now leading on the inside line. Here comes Will Weber. That outside lane, which was strong just not half a lap ago, now starting to fall apart. And there you have it. That outside lane has lost all the momentum they had. A 5-car group on the inside, running single file here. All being led by the 7 of Dalton Gibson on lap number 12 of 110 here tonight at Daytona for the American Sim Racing Tour. Right here on Turn 1, I'm Sean Fitz. I appreciate you being tuned in. We're excited to have you. Calling this race remote tonight. Not our normal coverage, but we could not miss an opportunity to call the American Sim Racing Group in a playoff. And the playoffs here under the lights. All of a sudden that outside line starting to pull back here, but the driver's going to pop out to that outside row. I believe that's Matt Bianchi. He's going to bob out, try to block that run off of Daniel Holloway, but Daniel's going to give him a ride all the way to the front of the field. Carl Lingle now attached to the 7. Bianchi on the high side, slowing down the Candy Shack crew, being led by Daniel Holloway there. And now, all of a sudden, Bianchi way out front, and that outside line really starting to come to fruition here. We get our camera right there. We go. Matt Bianchi, Daniel Holloway, strong pull on the outside. Here comes Akers. Now, again, that outside line starting to come back to fruition. They're going to split back down to the bottom. Matt Bianchi now, down to the inside. He's going to take Daniel Holloway with him. Akers is going to get left in the dust back behind him. Ethan Horst is going to be picked up inside row. In the 3rd place, but then they're going to scatter once again. Horst is going to go back to the high side. That's going to pick up the 7 car of Dalton Gibson, and now all of a sudden Matt Bianchi is going to have to connect with Daniel Holloway on that inside to continue running in that top spot. Being led now by Dalton Gibson on the high side, alongside Ethan Horst now up there. A lot of hop and scotch back and forth out of these drivers here on lap number 14. Oh, Horst is going to go real high up against the wall. That's going to slow that outside line up just a little bit. That's going to give Bianchi an opportunity to catch up on the inside with Daniel Holloway attached to the bumper. Holloway is glued to that 35, nice and tight, and that's what's going to produce the speed here at these super speedways. You want to be as tight as you can to the car in front of you. You see that? Look at the run they got off the front stretch. That's a 4-car gap back to Carl Lingle on that inside row. Now all of a sudden that outside lane is starting to fall back once again. These super speedway races really require you to have a partner. Either you need to be a good pusher or you need to be a good pushee. It does not matter which one, but you better be one of those to ensure that you're going to have enough speed to be out front, especially when it matters most of these super speedways. Oh, there it is. The caution's going to be out on the racetrack for the first time here tonight. Lap number 15. We're going to see if we can figure out what went wrong here. Several cars showing code. It doesn't look like it's involving anymore, but I saw Ethan Horst, DJ Maddish down pit road. May have been a little bit back there, but I don't show the incident here on our replay, but that's okay. Matt Bianchi, Daniel Holloway, Carl Lingle, Sean Stevens, Will Weber, your top 5. We're going to step aside for the first caution of the night. You're watching Turn 1. Will Weaver, Carl Lingle, Daniel Holloway, Sean Stevens, Chris Akers, your top 5 after the pit stops for the first time tonight here at Daytona. And getting ready to get back green flag racing here. Lap number 18. Remember how we were talking about at the top of the broadcast, how that pit strategy may have to be something you consider. Well, that is out the window. Now, 18 laps in, they've been down pit road. Next time, they will probably come down around lap 40 to 43 out of this group if we were to continue running that green flag run here tonight at Daytona. Pace truck, lights are off. That means we're going to get that's the one to go signal for these drivers. So we're getting ready to go back green flag racing. He's going to duck down pit road. And our control car out front, Will Weaver on the outside row, going to take them all the way down to the Geico restart zone. The green flag back out. We're back racing at Daytona. Weaver out to a strong start. Holloway on the outside line with him. Now to the inside, though, is Carl Lingle. And you have the 27 car up there. That's Sean Stevens on the push. Weaver out to a pretty strong start here, but the 21 is going to catch up to him quick. But being out there, out front like that is not always the best thing, especially these super speedway races. It allows everybody to get a bit of a run as we see a 4-car group connect on the outside, but here comes the inside line right behind the 21 of Stevens. I'm sorry, that was the 27 of Stevens. But in the meantime, the 21 of Holloway now catches up to Weaver. Holloway, again, we talked about it several times already. A notorious pusher here and pushy at Daytona. Connected right to the bumper of Will Weaver, and they're out and rolling on that high line. Up to the front here is the 343 of Russ Hancock. You see him right there behind his teammate, Daniel Holloway. They're connected. Chris Akers is up there as well. All of a sudden, Candy Shack up in all 3 drivers in the top 4. I would be concerned if I were anybody else in this field. That outside line starting to connect back up here. As these cars come down the backstretch, single file. Everybody cruising here again, and up to speed at the complete lap number 20. Whether you're a new fan or you've been here week over week, we certainly appreciate you watching Turn 1. If you haven't already done so, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, do what you need to do to get connected on whatever platform. We're live streaming on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube right here on Turn 1 tonight. So we appreciate the viewership. As we see Will Weaver on that outside line. Now, Chris Akers down on the bottom, looking to make a run here. He's going to bring Matt Binky along for the ride. And now, those 2 lines side by side and strong as they come down the backstretch. They continue to run here. Chris Akers, Matt Binky out to a solid push here as they come in off into turn number 3. Now, really, that inside line's completely fallen apart. So has the outside line. So we continue to have some screen issues there, but that's back. We're back now, but Chris Akers up front. Binky, Lingle, Braco, Will Weaver, your top 5. All of a sudden, now that outside line back together. This is the pace of a super speedway race. These drivers back and forth, back and forth. Now, Akers is really going to get checked up. He's going to slow up that outside line. You see that ripple effect through the cars. Everybody starts to scatter. Will Weaver goes to the middle. Akers just flew off the bumper of Matt Binky. I don't know what that was about, but he slowed up pretty hard on that outside line. He's going to get connected there to Guy Braco. And they're going to run 1-2 up front. Here comes on the inside now. Here comes Binky back along with Carl Lingle. That outside line continues to run here. It continues to dominate the top 5 cars. All coming single file from that outside group. And Rob Duvadek's going to move to the bottom, the 99. On the hunt for a solid finish here tonight. He's going to move to the bottom to come off the bumper of Daniel Holloway. Now all of a sudden, Guy Braco separates the Candy Shack group. Akers is going to move down and block Will Weber. Block that run. That's going to leave Guy Brayco all by himself, but he's also going to leave Daniel Holloway up there. Akers moves to the bottom to pick up Weber. And Duvidek now up to the third place position for the first time here tonight. Weber's going to move to the high line. And Akers is going to be stuck. Nowhere to go. He's going to try to side draft. Runs him up tight against the wall. Will Weber in trouble here. Duvidek right in his bumper, and the caution's out. We've got cars sideways on track. Everybody's checking up. Several cars potentially tore up there. We're taking a look, see if we can find out exactly what that caution was for. And it doesn't look like our incidents are working quite right, but that's okay. Either way, under caution here for the first time tonight on lap number 25. That may have been the stage break, actually, for this group, if that was what they were trying to pull off, and I think it was. Either way, Chris Akers out front, Will Weber, Rob Duvidek, Grayson Pate, and Eddie Morris, your top 5. We're going to step aside one more time and see if we see some of these drivers come down pit road. You're watching Turn 1. Will Weber, Chris Akers, Grayson Pate, Eddie Morris, Carl Lingle, your top 5. Pace truck lights are off. We're going to go back green flag. Racing here, lap number 27, coming to 28. Closing in on our quarter-way complete here tonight. Playoff racing under the lights for the American Sim Racing Tour right here on turn 1. Down to the restart zone they go. Will Weber, Chris Akers going to get both lines rolling evenly. Akers out to a pretty big jump. Has got a 1-car gap between him and Eddie Morris on the high side. Will Weber now. He's got a huge push from the I believe that's the 10 car there. That is Grayson Pate. All over the bumper there. Carl Lingle leaving in the dust on the bottom line. A little bit of a car gap there. This outside line is going to really start to pull away as they come down the backstretch, leading up to, or getting these cars up to speed here. So far that inside line, oh, now they've really got it connected. That is Will Weber and Grayson Pate, single file here, nose to tail down the backstretch on the bottom line. Really got that rolling here on that inside row. All of a sudden that outside line not really there, but all because of the 10 here attached to the bumper of the 92 as they come across the stripe, getting up to speed here, lap number 29. All of a sudden that outside line nowhere to be found here. Huge gap out back. Top 4-car breakout. With that Weber, Pate, Lingle, and Greer, your top 4. Chris Akers scored 5th. He's now attached to that inside line on the bottom. The first time here tonight we've seen the 10 car up here running for the lead, now attached to the bumper of Will Weber. Will, one of the drivers each and every week we talk about up front, continues to show he's got pace here. Just looking for a way to finish off a race here tonight at Daytona in that top spot. We talk about a super speedway race like each and every week, how super speedways are a great equalizer. Does not mean it doesn't require a level of talent. Does it not mean it doesn't require to really hold a solid wheel in one of these race cars. But ultimately, you could go from last to first in 2 laps around Daytona. You see this pack racing, oftentimes 2 and 3 wide on occasion. We'll see here tonight where these drivers are running really tight together with each other. And with the right push, with the right teammate, with the right circumstances, you can make up a ton of spaces in a very short amount of time here. And that gives an opportunity for drivers who may not necessarily always be the fastest, a great equalizer here in a super speedway. Weber continues to lead with Pate on the bumper. Akers is up to 4th place. We saw him looking towards the outside just a little bit there. Now that's what I was waiting to see. The 29 car go to the outside. He's going to take another driver with him. I think that's Hurt with him. It is Tyler Hurt on the outside. Now everybody's jockeying for position to join in behind the 29. Wow, Weber is going to lose a little bit of momentum with the 10 car off the bumper, but here comes Daniel Holloway to the inside. Now all of a sudden a 5-car group pulling away on the high line as they roll through 3 and 4. While we've got the chance, let's ride on board with one of these drivers here sitting around 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Let's start with Ambrose Nebel in the 4 car. So they're currently sitting 9th. Let's see what that on board, trying to fight through this traffic with these drivers, looks like here tonight at Daytona. Up front right now, a bunch of lead changes, but Chase Greer up front for the first time here tonight. Being led or being pushed by the 29 of Chris Akers. Again, that outside line continues to be a favorite of Akers. Oh, big drop down. And that's going to check a couple drivers up. That's Kirby Caputo there. He's having to take some evasive maneuvers. It was Tyler Hurt that moved down. Pretty aggressive. Now nearly making contact with another car on the outside. These drivers and the tenacity is starting to pick up. The action on the track is certainly at the highest level here on lap number 36 of 110. Now these drivers are going to move down to the bottom. A bunch of drivers picking back and forth. You can tell team and driver politics, as we'll like to call it, in full effect here tonight. Playoff racing at its finest right here at Daytona. Now, all of a sudden, that bottom line dominating. That's Eddie Morris up front here. He's being led or being pushed by the 10 car. Ethan Horst right behind him in the Ethan Horst in P3, running in the 15 car. Dalton Gibson. Now Chris Akers moving all the way back to 5th place. Tyler Hurt, Carl Lingle, Nebel, and Weaver changing some spots there towards the rear. Duvidak rounding out the top 10. Last time down pit road was lap number 26. These drivers getting ready to consider their next move in terms of pit stops. They're about halfway through this fuel window. And now all of a sudden that outside line completely non-existent in terms of momentum. And all of a sudden, 2 laps ago, pretty high paced. These drivers were working all over the place, and now mostly single file on the bottom and some space between the cars. That is the momentum shift that can happen. At a moment's notice for these super speedway races. We take a quick look here at the points status as they call it right now. Will Weaver is on top of the points. Currently out front right now. Looks like, let's take a look. He is out front. Just 4 points off the 99 Rob Duvidak. Eddie Morris, 27 points off the lead. So really this could come down to Will Weaver, Rob Duvidak, and a championship battle here towards the end. Every point counts. We saw that aggressiveness right coming to lap number 25. These drivers battling for every opportunity they could get to collect those points throughout the night here. On the bottom, Eddie Morris continues to lead that inside line. Dalton Gibson right there with him. Carl Lingle, Grayson Pate, Sean Stevens, your top 5. As these guys are getting ready to catch a little bit of lap or a single car lap traffic here. Plenty of room for these top 5 drivers to be able to squeeze by, but then it gets a little wider back there from 6th on for about 4 cars. They're going to catch them here at the start-finish line. Just about the best place to do that. As you see there, that lap car is going to go up there against the wall and not really get into the mix here of this race. As Morris, Gibson, and everybody in between slides by. $15 laps into this green flag run here. Again, these drivers are going to start thinking about their pit stops and pit strategy. Who's going to go with them, when they're going to go, especially if it remains green flag here in the next 5 to 6, 7 laps. We've always seen about a 20 to 25 lap fuel window out of these drivers, or out of these American Sim Racing Tour drivers. I don't suspect we'll see anything less here as we close in on completion of lap number 40 of 41 here at Daytona Under the Lights. Championship racing, playoff racing right here on turn 1 for this group. They will be taking, they have this race and then they have a team and driver pick race next week, but then after that they are done for the next couple months. They, like a couple other leagues, are going to take some time off and regroup and re-rack, but I believe we will see them back on later in July. Coming down the backstretch here. Again, that inside line, pretty dominant, about 10 cars deep there, single file. With that being led by Eddie Morris, Gibson, Dalton Gibson, Carl Lingle, Sean Stevens, Guy Braco breaking into the top 5 once again here on lap number 41. Good to see Guy having a decent run. Him along with the 99. Those drivers work really hard for this group to ensure that things are fair, equal, and clean with this group. But Guy often struggles with these super speedway races. I would say he hangs around the back a lot, but nice to see, especially I think this is the second or third week in a row we've seen him in the top 5 at some point during the race. Currently